Looks like your credits went through just fine. Fantastic. Now, where was I? Right. You were asking about the mercs. Nox Solaris. Well, friend, you have come to the right man. Been their humble street pharmacist since just after they got together. Some of my best clients, by the way. But more importantly for you, they're the best there is at what they do. I mean, what a group. Leader's a bona fide Atlantean voyager. That's right, Atlantean. Then there's the spooky techno-wizard cyborg genius. Finally, a mystic smithy giant. 12 feet tall if he's an inch. Not to mention the mountain of a spirit bear he calls brother. Now, I can get word to him if you're looking to hire Mister. No problem there. Just let old Blitz give you 2 tiny tips for your health. First, don't get on their bad side. Make sure you have payment ready to go, and don't try to pull any bullshit, or you're worse than dead. And second, don't piss off that fucking bear.
Finally, there you are. The Nexus had just enough power to fuel one more try. The last step. The Megaverse knows my Atlantean people as heroes, but a shadow of chaos has taken root in me. They try to bind it. They try to bury it. But when I finally called out to it, to you, from across the void, you answered, I am ready.
Welcome, traveler, to the Black Shore.
Your shame reaches a mother's heart, even beyond the veil, little brother. My sister saw and mocked her as the darkness closed in. She giggled and synthesized honey-sweet tones while leaning close to softly breathe her venom into my ear. And so, with judgment passed and tourniquets in place, my family commanded the automated surgical bots to neatly slice both arms and legs from my torso. The harsh lights overhead swam and dimmed before my eyes, as flesh and bone were replaced with cold, unfeeling metal to cripple my connection to the arcane. Now, my family lies far behind my path, and I follow a new teacher as she whispers from the darkness ahead. Her voice haunts me with promises of forbidden knowledge and wonders precious beyond compare. Each step brings me closer to my prize, closer to my revenge, closer to her.
Nah, brother. My eyes read the stars as keenly as your ancient ones do. It is almost here. E is almost home. And with him comes the end for our proud and noble Vanna countryman, along with the rest of the souls on this world, as his foul shadow falls upon us all. We alone stand for those who cannot. Ugh. So rise, son of Aku. Our ancestors smile upon us this night as they call us home. Come and let us earn our place amongst the stars above.
All right, recording now.
Okay, guys, we are back with the next session of our Prism of KeterFall Rifts campaign. We're jumping in today after the heroes have already gone and completed their first major quest arc. They headed to an old broken down reactor for the citizens of the settlement of Sinner's Cove. They were able to repair the reactor and shut down the cause of the deadly radiation that's been permeating throughout the area, causing wild mutations and the general degradation of the gene pool. They have returned to receive their reward from the mayor, who begrudgingly paid them the full amount of 1 million universal credits, divvied up on 10 individual cards. Wotek, the companion bear, the spirit animal that accompanies Ymir, our giant, Kuznia, Mystic Smith, he's been gravely wounded and is currently outside of the bar that our heroes are celebrating in. He's being treated by the local bartender, BB, with some fairly sophisticated skills that she seems to possess. It seems like he's actually healing nicely under her care, although he's just kind of sprawled out on the ground in front of the steps. His head had been caved in, but thanks to his incredible bioregenerative abilities, it's starting to knit itself together. This is in no small part due to the quick acting first aid skills administered to him as he lay dying in the bunker. So, we find our heroes in the tavern. I believe...
Biology check. Stay in school, kids. That's what saved him.
Right? Very true. Very true. Let's see. I believe Ren, you and Akama, I believe you guys were both still at the table. Correct? You guys weren't walking around. I think you were at the table, weren't you?
I was talking to Penis Cigar Man before Harmony came up and did what I was planning on doing and talking shit and making him scared. And then she put the fear of her spear in his ear, and then he paid us properly and left. And then I think I Yeah, so I was at the table. I was standing though, but I was at the table, yes. And I believe Ymir, you were right there with me, right?
Yeah, I was bar side. I was bar side, kind of on my way back, overlooking the entire situation. I was watching the entire situation go down between Ren and the mayor.
Okay. All right. And you had a large mining Borg that you had kind of mutually challenged each other to an arm wrestling match over in the corner at an oversized table that they have.
Yes, sir.
You had turned around and had him give you just a moment while you were watching what was happening with the payment.
Yes, sir.
The mayor has already pretty much started scrambling out the door. He doesn't want any of the negative attention that seems to be coming his way now that he has kind of been humiliated in front of most of the settlers of this area. Um, let's see. He's scurrying out. You guys.
Could you pop your volume up just a little bit, Odin? You're a little coming through a little soft on my end.
Can you turn me up on your Discord, or am I all the way?
I could do that.
Okay, perfect.
My bad.
Oh, no worries, man. No worries at all.
There we go. That's perfect. Thank you.
Okay, so you guys are basically in awe at the amount of cash that's just been dropped in your laps for this job. Definitely going to help you to meet some of your goals, and it's a nice little start for this group to feel like you guys have some real potential in doing good is definitely on the list, but furthering your own goals is right up there as well. So you're all definitely feeling like this is the beginning of a really good relationship with some solid companions and warriors that hopefully you can count on for years to come. Let's see. You guys each have briefly reflected in this moment on your overall goal of finding a interdimensional, a trans-dimensional merc outfit to join up with. And as you guys started this adventure together recently, you have indeed come a lot closer to that goal. You guys know that there are many independent merc companies in the area that are all coming together for this kind of almost like a job fair that's going to be happening in the city of KeterFall to the northwest. And in the short time that you've been in the area, you've already come across several of these factions. You guys experienced a pretty hectic initial route through the portal into KeterFall Keep, and then we're able to board the ship and come on over to Sinner's Cove. But other than that, you guys really haven't explored much. You really don't know what's in the area. And although you've gotten a pretty crude map of kind of the larger territory, you guys really don't know what's around you yet. So in this sense, although you're off to a pretty good start, you realize that you really are going to need to start making more connections with more of the factions and starting to decide if there are any factions that you're wanting to kind of start allying with or making some inroads with before you even get to KeterFall, where the real competitions are going to begin. So that is definitely something that's on your guys' mind. So far, Harmony has been one of your closest connections. She is a warrior and what you guys would all pretty much assume to be a hunter of the supernatural and the monstrous. She's shown herself to be gracious and honorable and respectful, although you guys really haven't seen her in combat or seen what her capabilities are. Unfortunately, her companion, the monk, was recently lost as you guys were trying to fix the reactor, and she definitely still seems pretty shaken up about that. Pilgrim is her companion as well. They are from the Metadyne faction, and Pilgrim has shown herself to be able to
somehow absorb the energies or attributes of different forces around her and individuals. Still not exactly sure what she is, but it's very intriguing the way she seems to not only not be hurt by things that should kill her, but actually have some kind of control over those forces. So, okay. As you guys look around, there are lots of really deformed and grotesque individuals. There's a few that look still relatively human, but for the most part, there are 20 or 30 patrons or so kind of coming and going and having drinks. Everybody is toasting to you, and most of the murmurs and general chatter that you hear are in celebration to your group and in respect and appreciation of you guys. Now that the mayor has walked off and you've been paid, the small kind of toasts and cheers start up in the background again, and you guys realize these people really do appreciate what you've done, even though the effects probably won't be seen for quite a while. All right, with that being said, you guys are good. What does anybody want to be doing? Pilgrim and Harmony are still right there and right next to you guys in the group at the tables.
Thank you for the persuasion, Harmony. I swear I was one step behind you, but much appreciated for that extra coin.
She nods at you and she says, I've had to deal with that piece of shit several times in the last few months, and I've had enough. I've had enough of his muling and greed. She kind of lowers her head somberly and she says, I would drink my sorrows away this afternoon, and I would hope that any of you would join me in a round of toasts for my fallen brethren. She says, we were more than friends and associates. She lowers her head even more, and in breaking tones, she says, we were family, and we had seen much. And with this, she looks over at the other barmaid behind the counter and holds 3 fingers up and makes a kind of swirling gesture with her hand. You're not sure exactly what this means, but you would guess that it's some kind of order for an understood drink that she's requesting. You hear an "I" come from the barmaid in response and acknowledgement. Harmony kind of steps back over next to Pilgrim at the tables, and she goes ahead and sits back down and just kind of looks down at the table in front of her at her hands as she kind of rings them together in a
Harmony's doing this?
motion. Correct.
I'll just have a light beer. I'm not a big drinker. No, I'm joking.
And you see Pilgrim actually reaches an arm over and puts it around Harmony's shoulder. You do notice that, I just want to add, Pilgrim has a loose blue, very long kind of tunic that she has slipped over herself. You would guess that Harmony had it somewhere in a pouch.
But not in her naked fish form. She's got
no naked fish boobies hanging out. And you don't see any eggs clinging anywhere either. So don't anybody spray anything. That's not how we're doing this. You guys find that's how they mate. You didn't know this?
Spray anything. No, I got that. I thought you meant like kill her eggs or something. I'm sorry.
No.
No, I got you.
So, but yeah, so she's covered up in, terms of modesty and everything.
Yeah, I was wondering actually, because I wasn't sure if that would be like a normal type thing for maybe this race, or people just being used to, like certain races
Not
maybe
so
just
much.
don't rock clothes, so that'd be a normal thing. Or
you guys see that most of these individuals, they all look like what you would expect in kind of like a mining town in the current age. Most
Mhm.
people are wearing just kind of, utility style clothes and such, but everything's fairly normal. Um,
So do we gather that she's doing this just to be more like fit in better, or is it
correct.
just okay?
Draw a little less attention to herself.
Okay.
In fact, as you guys are looking at her, you notice that her features actually seem a touch less alien at the moment. You notice that the horn like protrusions and the tentacle like protrusions on her head have receded a little bit, and that her features actually look a little less alien. You also notice that her hands are almost completely unwebbed, and the fingers are no longer clawed. They look like relatively basic humanoid hands. And the same with her legs. They no longer have the extra bend, although they do look alien and oddly formed. Her feet
Do,
as well look alien, but not nearly as bird like or extremely unhuman.
does this look like a change she's actually purposely done to kind of fit in and be less
You're not
stand
sure, but
outish?
you would guess in it by putting it together with the fact that she's wearing clothing now. You would guess that that could be a possibility.
A slight camouflage just to blend in a little bit better,
Correct.
or to cause less.
Um, I do want to say that you guys, all the enchantments have worn off now. I believe all of your
Yep.
spells and so forth are pretty much all off. And in the character sheets, we're going to go ahead and turn off the exterior armor. So, let's see, enchanted armor's off. And Ren, armor of Ithan. Your cloak is still ready to go. And then, Knight armor shell's already off. Medium padded and spider silk. Good. All right. So, what would you guys care to do?
Ymir would like to react to what Harmony's gesture just was, and I'm assuming he heard and saw the conversation she just had with Ren.
Correct. You're actually
Okay.
just a few feet away.
Yeah, absolutely. Ymir approaches the somber warrior, understanding when she ordered around for everyone. He's starting to understand English bits and pieces. Words are starting to break through, along with his understanding of what just her body language in general is. And he kneels down next to her because she's kind of slumped over, still somber in her chair. He nods at Ren slightly before he gets down on one knee, sort of like how he was back in the reactor chamber. Looks at her dead in her eyes and struggles. You can tell the giant struggles to get the words out because it's still very foreign to him, but he struggles out in this very gruff, foreign tone. He looks at Harmony dead in her eyes and goes, "Thank you," and nods his head and returns to his more Viennese Russian speaking pattern so he can continue the conversation. He says, "Remember what I told you, but I would gladly drink to the memory of a fallen brother." And nods his head and sort of nods over at the bartender, like, make sure I get one when she orders it. And I'm just going to continue there. I'm going to lock eyes with the uh, bionic arm wrestling opponent I have and sort of just nod to him respectfully, like, give me one more moment, brother. scene. Obviously, I'm sharing a fallen drink with somebody who's going through something. I'm going to get back to it. Ymir's going to return to it, but he wants to pay Harmony the proper respect. She asked for a drink for her fallen friend, and that's something that's very sacred, even in his culture. So Ymir is planning to stay
Okay,
there and have a
okay.
drink.
As you look over to him, you see that he's kind of picked up on what's happening in the bar, and he obviously knows these people. He's probably a local, and he just looks at you very gruffly and just kind of makes a small grunt and just a very short, curt nod of the head. And you notice that he's already anticipated this. He's opened up a huge panel on the bicep of the um, bionic heavy mining Borg arm that he has,
Mining Borg, that's the word.
and he
That's
actually has a little toolkit out with his human hand, using the toolkit to kind of do some maintenance and some upkeep on the inner workings of that arm. So he's totally fine. He's got a cocktail in front of him as well. Some kind of thick, viscous green fluid that almost looks like radiator coolant mixed with mud. So you guys you guys see that very quickly. The bartender starts putting several large bottles of what looks like whiskey onto a serving platter, along with dozens of shot glasses. And you see that as soon as she gets this set up, she also puts a few large pads of what you would assume to be ground beef onto a flat griddle that they've got back behind the bar, in a rear kitchen area. As she goes back there and throws a few of those on, right away you can smell that heavenly scent wafting through the air, and the smell of grilling meat and fat just instantly sets all of your stomachs alight. Um, you notice that the simple gesture that Harmony made elicited all of this. And you would guess that this can't just be. You just find it strange that this bartender knew exactly to do all of this just from one gesture. And you wonder what the relationship between Harmony and these people really is. She seems very familiar to them. As a moment goes by, let's see, Harmony. Ymir, I thought, okay, Akama, I thought you had headed outside.
I'm outside smoking
Mhm.
snag away with BB.
Okay. I was going to say,
with
I
bear
thought,
blood all over fucking the blunt as they smoke it,
The
because that's
blood.
where her hands have been.
Yeah. I
We're
put it to her
gonna-
mouth so she could puff it.
we're going to say that you were able to see the exchange with the mayor. I don't remember if
And
you were outside or inside
I
when
was
that
outside the
happened.
whole time.
Okay, well, I'm not going to worry about that. We'll say that the door was open. You heard roughly the exchange. You don't even need to know about the money just yet. There's no worries there.
Yeah.
So you're out interacting with BB. You guys are passing that. That was the wacky tobacco from Blitz, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So you guys are passing that back and forth, just enjoying the afternoon weather. It's actually very pleasant out today, and there's something about the environment that you could swear you feel that absence of the hostile radiation, even the small tinges that must have been getting to you previously that you hadn't noticed. You just feel like the environment is somehow been sanctified and cleansed. And it gives you, as an Atlantean and a person who's very familiar with, um, the hazards that one encounters across the multiverse, you realize that just being able to change the environment here for these people, you could have fundamentally given this whole area the chance, the potential to become truly settled and to become, a small bastion of civilization. And You actually feel pretty positive about that because you've encountered lots of civilizations and societies that were literally wiped out by calamities like this. And so, yeah, definitely, this is definitely a feather in your cap, and you feel a sense of pride. As you look around, you notice that there are even more settlers showing up, and that many of them obviously work some kind of like mining operations locally, but you're not sure exactly what kind of operations there are. It might be scavenging. You're not sure, but everybody looks pretty grungy, dirty, and like they've either been working in a pretty filthy factory environment or a mine. As they show up, everybody's still got tools strapped to their belts, and most of them are carrying what looks to be um, almost like gas cans, maybe 10-gallon large like jerry cans, the old metal military kind of style. And you're not sure why that would be. Obviously, they're not carrying gas around, but almost to the man, the 20 or so individuals you could see walking up the bank from the kind of more settled area of the town at the base of the hill that the inn sits on. You see that a lot of these individuals walking up to the residential area, they're carrying these cans. It's very strange. You're not sure if it was part of their job or just some tradition for something that's happening now or what. You take another deep hit. Roll a 20-sided for me. Okay. As you take this hit, you definitely fucking you hit this thing. You really hit this thing. And as you do, you'd say you burn about a third of it down with just a huge, powerful toke without even thinking about it, just being lost in thought. And as you do, you feel a very warm, pleasure, uh, pleasure-based sensation wash over your body, and you realize that even though you have an incredible tolerance for drugs and chemicals and toxins, this shit's actually getting on top of you, and you have to kind of steady yourself for just a moment as you realize you're actually getting kind of fucked up.
Hey,
Um, she,
that was the
you,
plan.
you come back to your senses as you feel something tapping you on the wrist, and you look over, and she's trying to remind you that you're supposed to be sharing it, and she's got her hand open, waiting. Uh, you hand it over, and she starts taking a hit. Is there anything you want to say or do? You see that she's pretty much done working on Wotek for right now. He's bandaged up. She had a large suture kind of kit that had kind of like a modern medical suture gun, staple gun, and
Okay.
she used up like 3 clips of the sutures to close up as many of the wounds as she was practically able to. But a lot of this stuff is just going to kind of have to heal. So she's pretty covered in blood and gore, but she's got him pretty much stable now. So, yeah. Is there anything you'd like to say or do?
Nice day we having, eh?
She takes a huge toke and puts her head all the way back and blows it straight up in the air, and she nods and she says, "Seems like you and your friends accomplished the impossible." And she says, "I, for one, am grateful as hell." She says, "I didn't think this place would still be on the map in another year or two." And she says, uh, me, Sissy, and a few others are the only ones that aren't looking like melted wax at this point. And she says, hopefully now that the radiation seems to have died down and the power should stay on, we'll be able to attract some less. And she kind of pauses for a moment and looks down, trying to look for the right words without insulting like all of her fellow citizens of this area. She says, melted individuals, which may increase tourism and attract more business. She says we're close enough to Ketter's Keep that if we could establish this place as a decent port of trade, we could profit from their growing power base in the area. And then she shakes her head and she says, sorry. She says, I'm getting high. I'm a little lost in thought. There's a lot of plans to be made now. And she kind of lowers her voice and leans over to you. The mayor had just walked by a few moments ago as you guys were smoking. And you notice that she's still a little bit on edge. And she leans in close and she says, I don't think that the mayor actually ever wanted to help this place. And she says, I think he's got an ulterior agenda and maybe working for somebody that has never shown their face up until this point in the game.
I look at her and I nod in like a yes.
Okay. She nods as well, and she kind of catches herself and stops talking. She says, before you all leave, we should sit down and have a long conversation where prying ears can't overhear. And at this, she just kind of nods quickly to you and starts standing up and begins heading towards the stairs and the door.
I grab her wrist and I say, speaking about conversation, my pal Ren was looking to speak to you about something, probably more in a private session itself. Then I let go
And
of
her
her
eyebrow
wrist.
kind of raises, like
Ooh.
she can't really tell if you think she's a hooker or if you're,
Damn.
she's kind of like, wait a minute. So go ahead, continue. You
I
want
let
to
go of
say,
her wrist and I get up and I walk with her inside the bar.
okay, all right, you do that. You guys kind of head inside, and as you do, a bunch more cheers come from inside, with all of the patrons reacting as the door opens to the sight of you again. And you're reminded once again that, I mean, these people are very grateful. You guys start heading back in, and you're hit with that odor of cooking meat as well. And now you're smelling some fried potatoes. And
Delicious up in this place.
all of this is starting to make your fucking mouth water because you guys haven't really had a decent meal in a bit. You also hear Wotek as the door is open. You hear him respond with the first real kind of low moaning growl that you've heard from him in a while, and you can tell that it's definitely from him smelling that odor. So at least his stomach is active again.
Right.
Now, you're
right.
sure that he's doing pretty well from that mushroom. He
Right.
still seems very sedated, and you would guess that he's probably not in much pain or discomfort at this point. So
Yep.
you're relieved
Mhm.
at that. All right, you guys are back in. You start heading with her over to the table, and most of the patrons again are just kind of offering cheers and so forth. Sissy, the other barmaid, she comes over and brings the whiskey to your guys' table, fills up dozens of shots, and begins distributing them throughout the rest of the patrons. Bear, are you sitting down or standing kind of at the table?
Ymir, after he knelt down and had that heart-to-heart with Harmony, he stood back up. So now he's upright in front of the table, in front of the drinks.
Okay. All right. So the drinks are poured. Ren, what would you like to be doing?
I'm going to be kind of doing my best to look like I'm fully interested in what's going on with everyone. I am slightly focused on Harmony and Pilgrim, just to kind of pick up on what they're doing. Partially just because I'm interested in those two, but also trying to kind of mimic their methods of mourning their lost friend. But at the same time, most of my focus is kind of going over thoughts of I'm basically twisted my fingers. I have a piece of the broken drone that I'm
Okay.
kind of playing with and kind of trying to kind of brainstorming while so like I'm half there. I'm doing my best to look like I'm participating, but this being an uncomfortable situation for me,
Rather
I'm being as
retreat into. Okay,
yeah,
I get you.
my typical retreat into my mind and try to figure out things that are
Okay.
kind of like a ADD kind of like oh yeah I'm smiling and nodding, but afterwards I'm gonna need those directions again. Kind of I didn't catch all of it because I'm focused on something else type thing,
I get you.
which he does a lot in social scenarios. Doing his best to follow, keep up, but at the same time, a million other things just ticking away in his mind.
Okay. All right. As you're looking over some of the scrap from one of those orbs, you do notice that the exterior shell pieces definitely don't seem very advanced. They don't seem especially durable or, sophisticated. But you do notice that the internal components that you're seeing parts of, the whatever the energy projector system was for that disabling beam that they were able to shoot out, this tech looks very advanced. And one of the things you notice is that it definitely does have many of the same signature components and systems that a lot of your family's tech has. Um, so again, it makes you realize that this new Kenora group definitely has some of the most advanced tech on the continent at this point. But once again, it's impressed upon you that it's the weapon system is impressive, but it's not like they spent as much as they could making these units as good as they could. So you're dealing with not a major military power that could, take over a continent, but definitely something that is fielding units that, in numbers would be able to be a very effective large scale army. Um, so essentially, this also gives you a small insight into some of new Kenora's tech, is what I'm trying to say. Okay, so switching from that, um, as the rest of the whiskey is handed out, uh, Harmony picks up one of the bottles and actually stands up. And as she does so, Pilgrim rises with her and puts an arm around her shoulder as Harmony holds the bottle high up in the air with her left hand. With her right, she closes up her fist and pounds it against her chest over her heart. And in a loud and steady voice, uh, she says, "To the fallen." She puts her head down for a moment and closes her eyes, and then
Did
everyone in
she
unison.
buy a round for the table?
Yeah, it's everybody's got a
Okay,
shot
I
in
was making
front of them.
sure
Yeah,
because if she wouldn't have, I would have requested another one. I was confused if that's exactly what she was doing, but I was thought that's okay.
absolutely. And you guys all have a shot in front of you. Um, so with that, she goes ahead and starts taking a huge swig of the bottle of whiskey, and the rest of the patrons all start taking their shots.
I
I will
walk
follow in
up
suit.
to the back, I guess, walk up to the table, and I go ahead and say, "Hey guys, what did I miss?"
Okay.
I'm mid shot. I can't talk.
Okay, so you're going ahead and you're knocking one back. Ren is
Gulp.
warmly and pleasantly surprised by um, the taste of the whiskey. It's actually to your liking, and you usually are not especially fond of some of the home brews of this land. Um, but yeah, this one definitely has that kind of clean, neat warmth that you're accustomed to from finer spirits. Uh, Ymir, did you want to take one as well?
Absolutely. Yeah. Ymir was one Harmony raised her cup and gave the salute to the fallen. Ymir followed suit, knowing exactly what that meant, because in his culture they have the exact same thing or a custom that's extremely similar. And so he raises his cup, he swigs down the alcohol, and then he grabs two mugs of the two giant sized mugs and starts making his way towards the mining board and the armor stand or the arm wrestling stand.
All
And he
right.
sets one of the mugs down on the counter, looks at the large brother that he's about to be facing, and says, "Keep for waiting," and walks to the other side of the table, kind of prepping himself. Maybe he takes another swig, but he's in good spirits, and he brought over his respectful opponent the drink because he respected that he waited for him.
Right on. He grunts and happily reaches out and grabs it with his human hand and nods at you in gratitude. And as he starts knocking that back, he turns and repositions himself so he's going to be able to actually kind of sidle up to the arm wrestling table and go for it. You walk on over and take a massive fucking pull from your mug as you sit down and prepare to arm wrestle this fucking titanic figure. Um, okay, and a comma. As you ask that, you basically see everybody in the bar is taking a shot. You also see that on the table you would guess set out for you is a single shot left. If you'd be interested in taking it.
I'll
Um,
go and grab it and raise it to the sky and say to the fallen and then knock it back.
all right. You do that, and at this, Harmony looks over at you and nods very somberly. And with that, she sits back down with Pilgrim at her side, and she just starts tipping the bottle back and taking huge pulls from it. Um, okay. What does everybody want to be doing? Just continuing on? Anything different? Just want to check?
Yeah, do I have to roll anything for our little arm wrestling
Yeah,
challenge?
you're about to start arm wrestling. I just want to make sure there's nothing else
Yes.
you want to do before that,
No,
correct? Okay.
indeed. No.
And Ren,
I'm just gonna be observing everybody around, looking for anyone who's given me stank eye, if there is. I've been a little bit on edge since I've run into some people that know my family clan or know who I am from my clan, and then also same time, same other thing, just fiddling with this thing, working ideas out in my head while also still trying to study slightly Harmony and Pilgrim. Just trying to get a read on their attitudes changing as they maybe continue to drink. I feel I don't want to really engage because they're dealing with their shit, so I don't want to be like, like, hey, so what's new? Or I want to leave them to doing their own thing. So I'm just observing them.
okay. As you're observing Ren, you notice that behind that kind of security gate of bars on the side of the bar, that money exchanger is he's looking at you intently. He's just kind of staring at you with a weird grin on his face. And it's a little off-putting. You're not sure why. Um, all right. And you go back to paying attention to what you were. Now, A comma. What do you want to be doing?
I'm still standing up, and I'm basically next to, or I should say, in between Pilgrim and Harmony. I go ahead and put my hands on both shoulders, one opposite of each side, and then I said, "I'm glad that you guys are safe and still here. Your presence is very enlightening, and I appreciate your assistance."
Okay, and at this, she looks up at you and she nods and she says, "Indeed, Atlantean, we are very well met. I don't know that we would have survived that encounter without your group's intervention." And at this, she puts her head down a little bit and shakes her head side to side. And after just a brief pause, she says, "To think that he is one of our rank, to think that we are bound to him in blood." And she just sighs very, very deeply. She looks up at you, and you can see that in the very corner of her eye, there's just a little bit of glint of that kind of shrink wrapped sheen of a tear that won't quite form, but a sign of sorrow nevertheless. And you catch it for just a fleeting second, but with that sign of sorrow clear upon her face, she says, uh, "'Tis the same with my two sisters. If only I could save these fallen souls." And right as she says it, you see that where Pilgrim's hand is resting on Harmony's forearm in a sign of comfort, you see Pilgrim's hand tighten noticeably around Harmony's forearm. And at this, Harmony instantly goes silent. And she shakes her head a little bit, reaches forward with the bottle, and sets the bottle of whiskey back on the table. She looks up at you with steel in her spine once again, and a mask of professionalism across her face once more. And she says, "My apologies. I speak out of turn and of things that should not be mentioned." Um, she seems to have allowed herself all of the revelry and comfort that she's going to after making some kind of perceived mistake in what she said. And with this, she just sits up very straight and starts surveying the room, obviously, once more trying to get control of her faculties and, as any warrior would, become aware of her surroundings in case, violence should happen upon her.
Uh,
Um,
since my eyes are on them, but all of my brain's kind of somewhat elsewhere, do I notice this
yeah,
kind of latching?
yeah.
So does it look to me like Pilgrim was kind of like the hey enough talking, or is it more like I
Oh
feel
yeah,
you?
definitely.
Okay, it was okay.
I look at her and I say, uh, "I understand," and I rub her back nice and slow, and then I say, "But yet again, I thank you guys for uh still being here with us. And by any chance, how long will you guys be in town for?"
uh, she nods in acknowledgement as if to say, no thanks are needed. And says, she says, "We plan to leave. We plan to leave in the morning." She says, "Our route, our route does not go directly to KeterFall." She says, "We have business in the local region first. Um, Once this is settled, we will be moving on." She says, "After our local business is concluded," she says, I will, I will head north um, to the current home of my father, um, Mr. Singer," she says. Um, she says, "He resides in an area known as Whistler's Perch.
My ears perk up when I hear this.
Okay. She... Let me see. She asks if you have a map of the surrounding territory.
Like she spoke about this before.
Do we have a map on our little personal computers?
Correct.
Yeah. And I think when she asked that on the ship, I don't know if she had given us another one or because I said that we didn't because it was something that was given to us by the other guy when we did the first meetup.
Black, yeah.
Yeah, Fleck. So I tried to make it act as if we don't, even though it's supposed to be like quote unquote hidden. So I told her we didn't, but I'm not too sure if she had given us anything or anything like that.
She hasn't given you one, um, but you get the feeling that she's wanting to show you something, a place of interest. And she actually, when you say you don't, she holds up one of her gauntlets and presses a few kind of recessed little studs that you hadn't noticed before. And the front of her gauntlet on her forearm slides back and has what looks to be a plastic or glass panel below that starts to emit light above it, forming what looks like a view screen about 6 inches square, that just kind of hovers above her armor. As she holds it up to you, you see the map of the local area. Give me just 1 second. Okay, you see the map of the local area that you already possess, but there is now another site noted. And so you see that directly in front of the one point that you had already had marked off, reflex point where you are, the area that you're currently in. You now also see that just to the northwest of you, there is also Whistler's Perch that's been marked. And you guys also should have KeterFall as well.
I do see that, yes, sir.
Okay, excellent. She says that if you guys are in need of refuge, Whistler's Perch is an excellent resource to resupply and gather information in a friendly environment, without fear of hostility or treachery. And by this, you definitely guess that she means that it is, it's a sanctuary where nobody really has to worry about getting fucked over. So, all right. At this, she closes the map up. Ren, you were able to easily see it as well. And as the map closes, we head over to the corner of the bar to an oversized arm wrestling table that appears to be made with several chunks of mega damage animal bone as some of the handles, and then large mega damage leather pads set up as the elbow rests. The table itself looks like a incredibly hefty piece of mega damage steel that's been bolted to the floor, and you would guess that it is able to support tremendous exertions of strength. So as you lock arms, Ymir, as a 12-foot tall giant hulking figure, you lock wrists with this mining Borg, and as your hands clap together, there's a loud kind of like ham hitting the table sound that echoes through the bar, and you notice that a lot of the patrons look over in shock. It's so loud. As this happens, you notice that dozens of patrons start coming over and circling around you guys. And as they do so, you start hearing BB, who has made her way back behind the bar. You start hearing BB scribbling on a chalkboard behind her station, and she loudly begins announcing odds and starts taking wagers on who's going to win. As she does so, you can tell that there's about even odds, which you feel a little bit insulted by. And your basic mathematical skills are able to tell you this, even without being able to read the language that she's writing in. Definitely fucking pisses you off just a little bit. I'll just put it that way. You kind of growl a little bit under your breath, and as you both start adjusting your frames and preparing for the contest to begin, Sissy walks over, and she takes out a long red section of what looks to be mega damage chain. It's not very heavy, but it's thick enough that it should do the job. And as she takes this chain, she begins adeptly wrapping your guys' hands in the appropriate fashion, and then fastens it with a carabiner, and is able to lock it at the end with a twist so that it should keep everything contained and locked up. As you both start giving a kind of little flex, a preparatory flex, and getting yourselves ready, you can actually see that there are several sections of his arm that look like they have a lot of wear and tear. And at this range, you're able to notice that although he is a pretty worthy opponent, the kind of tech that he's sporting, you're probably not going to have much problem at all. You're pretty familiar with the capabilities of most common bionics in terms of the kind of strength they offer, and you would guess that this individual has grossly underestimated the actual level of your strength. You realize that he thinks you're strong, but you don't think he understands that you actually have what essentially is supernatural strength.
Mm-hmm.
So
I run up to BB and I put 2,000 credits on Demir.
Okay, you stand up and quickly make your way over through the crowd. It takes a little bit as you're behind several people placing bets right now, but quickly you're getting moved through the queue and moving up to the front of the line. You're wanting to place, this is your personal money, is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Who grabbed the cards? What's happening with the cards that were on the table?
They were given to me.
I don't know about it.
He doesn't even know about them yet.
Okay, so you took possession of
Yeah,
okay.
Ymir acknowledged it by nodding his head at Ren, like Ren was holding the cards.
Yeah, she had him give them to me because I was the one talking to him, so I have them, and I haven't.
Right.
Okay, excellent.
No chance to give them anything yet.
So, I just want to make sure Akama wasn't about to. All right, so let's see. And you have that in universal credits, is that correct?
Yeah, I already deducted it.
Okay. Let's see. You get queued up and quickly put the money on your companion. And Ren, what are you wanting to do?
I'm going to so like in my gear basically set up kind of like the drawing I have somewhat is I'm basically wearing a fairly tight padded armor with like a kind of like skirt like cloak and then this hooded contraption that also has this mask that goes onto it. When I remove the mask, I do have similar to the one picture that I photoshopped away the damage on the one lady. Like I kind of like a gorget for the neck that comes up and kind of like a turtleneck almost, but it also kind of like goes over a little bit of my my jawline. And I guess that's kind of what kind of connects to the face mask, so it kind of frames my face. I'm gonna remove the gorget from my neck, where I might still have a couple of stray hairs that didn't get clipped when I did my shaving earlier, and
Okay.
I'm going to make my way over to the guy that was uncomfortably staring at me, unless he had stopped. If he
No, he's
wasn't,
still staring right at you.
yeah. So this guy that's mad dogging me, I'm gonna go check him out.
Okay. You stand up, and as you start heading over there, you notice that he was hunched over, leaning on the kind of desk in front of him, or the counter in front of him behind the cage. And as he sees you starting to walk over, he actually stands up and pulls the cigar from his mouth after taking a long pull. And he turns to the left and walks out of view, somewhere kind of in the recess of his little cubby there. And as you continue walking over, before you're able to get over to the window, he returns with a what looks to be just a small kind of palm kind of mini computer or very advanced kind of calculator. Um, and the smile on his face widens as you kind of step up to the window. All right, Ymir, as Sissy holds up her finger in the air and places her other hand over both of your giant hands wrapped together in mega damage chain. She places her delicate petite hand with finely manicured fingernails over these two crude instruments of destruction and salvage. And as she begins to count, she prefaces it by saying, go on three. She says one, and the crowd goes dead silent throughout the bar.
And then you hear me shout in the background, "You got this, Amir!"
All right, at this, a bunch of snickers go through the audience, and people definitely appreciate your enthusiasm. Let's see. Harmony and Pilgrim, you guys can all see, are looking over and watching as they continue to apparently palaver about matters they must discuss quietly between themselves. Ren, you hear everything go quiet and glance over and see that the match is about to start right as you get to the counter. And okay, Sissy hits 3. Ymir, why don't you go ahead and roll initiative? Actually, let me see something, because usually you need I don't know if you'll need a token or not. Let me go like this. It'll be easier just to look at your.
The wrestling and bear strength don't fail me now.
Let's see. I just want to check and see what your. Okay, +1 on initiative. You can just go ahead and roll 1d20, and we're going to add 1 to it.
Gotcha.
And he's going to roll a d20. All right. So you are able to get the jump on him. You're going to need to make 3 successive strength checks against his rolls, but you're going to enjoy a +10. Okay?
Good.
So go ahead and roll a d20 for the first one.
What roll? What you cut out?
Just roll a 1d20.
1d20. Gotcha.
Okay, so you are able to very quickly twist his wrist to your favor, where you get a nice boost in leverage, and right away you hear the servos in his shoulder start squealing under the stress. You also hear something that sounds like a bolt snapping somewhere, and a really low kind of thrumming kind of vibration start somewhere down by the elbow of his bionic arm. Roll another d20 for the second check.
Gotcha.
That
Okay.
16 was savvy as fuck.
So you are now able to rotate your forearm about 45 degrees. You see that right away his elbow has a big spurt of some kind of lubricant, some kind of dark, foul smelling fluid that explodes out from one of the armor plates at his elbow and gushes about a half a pint all over the table. You also see something that looks like a spark flare up close to where this fluid just escaped from. You now hear as well that his shoulder is making some kind of grinding noise, and he has stopped losing ground momentarily as his arm kind of locks into that position. But you can actually tell that his arm has locked because there's some physical mechanism in it that is seized up at that point. It's no longer like the servos are pressing against you. It's like the construction of the arm itself is going to snap if it bends anymore. So the actual metal is what's keeping it from being rotated further. So let's roll our final 20-sided die check.
Is my my money in?
Oh yeah, you got your bet in.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
Say
So
goodbye to that arm.
you hear a wrenching and squealing of metal and gears as the arm is rotated fully down to the pad, and you see that it indeed snaps somewhere in the internal gearing right at the elbow. It doesn't completely separate at the joint, but you notice that it is now with a loud snapping and cracking noise. It is now laying at a very unnatural angle, and obviously the entire internal mechanism of the arm is completely compromised. You hear a few more kind of grinding noises, and then what sounds almost like servos powering down and going offline. You notice that another big spurt, a gout of that fluid gushes out of the elbow, and then all of the fingers kind of twitch and seize for a moment, and then it closes into a solid fist after After spasming against your hand, it closes down as tight as it seems to be able to around your fist and kind of locks there in place, no longer moving. Sissy walks up and begins unhooking the chain and trying to kind of, separate your guys' hands. You're flooded with a profound sense of joy as you're able to exert your physical will over this individual who was up for a fair challenge.
Mm-hmm.
And although it wasn't much of a match, you appreciate his warrior spirit. And you do definitely feel for him because you could tell this is going to be a costly repair.
Of course.
As you look over at his face, though, you see nothing but a huge shit-eating grin on his unshaven, savage-looking face. There's just a huge sense of pleasure that's washed over his visage as you notice that he's finally found somebody capable of giving him a really good match. He nods at you, and as you guys are finally separated, he holds out his human hand to shake yours and nods at you in respect.
Ymir, seeing the his opponent's gesture, reaches out his giant arm to the man's human arm and clasps his forearm and kind of lightly knocks heads with him like good match, kind of a warrior's respect or a warrior's salute. And then he kind of looks over at the mug still left over at the table and with both of his hands brings over his opponent his mug, hands it to him, and raises it as it cheers like a toast to a battle well fought, like two titans that just met on a battlefield, but mutual respect.
All right, he stands up from the table, and as he does so, his arm just kind of swings down and goes completely limp, dripping shit on the floor as he pulls away from the table. But he reaches out and grabs it and, does a toast to you as well and starts knocking it back with a ravenous thirst. You can tell that must have hurt. Wherever that
Just a
shit was
little bit.
attached to flesh, it must not have
Just
felt
a
good.
little bit.
Yeah.
The plus
so,
10.
Yeah.
The plus. Whew,
Yeah.
whew,
Well, it would have been, I was going to give you 5 for your strength being
Right.
so different, but with the initiative, you right away, you got leverage. So, let's see.
Good shit.
Okay, so as that's concluded, right away, Sissy starts paying out the bets, so you can go ahead and put the 4,000 down, a comma, and Ren, as you reach the window and he finally starts speaking, he begins asking you, he says, I see that you've come into some funds of late. He lets out a kind of tittering giggle, and then he squints his eyes kind of savagely at you and gets this really gleeful look. And he says, here we go. He says, perhaps you'd be interested in exchanging some of those funds for a different type of currency. He says, is there anything else that you're interested in besides universal credits?
What would I find that's better than universal credits? These are universal.
He says, true, but he says, I noticed that you are a techno wizard, yes?
Correct.
He nods and he says, perhaps there are gems that you are in need of, perhaps precious metals. He says, and of course there are other more illicit substances that can be more useful than cash out in the wilds of these lands.
Those being?
He says, there is a drug that is quite potent, that is a remnant from the old Earth society called the Americas. He says, this drug was once known as one of the greatest demons to roam the land. He says it is called heroin. He says, I have a huge supply of this. In fact, a duffel bag full. He says many of the local inhabitants do not enjoy it, and I have found that the local constabulary is, shall we say, less than fond of the effects that it generates in the users. He says, but for one such as you may find a location on your travels where it could fetch much more than it would cost you to purchase here. He says perhaps this would be a way for your group to multiply its resources very quickly. He
Or a
says,
way for our group to lose our resources completely.
and at this he chuckles and he says, perhaps, he says, but for the bold, great wealth can often be the prize. He says, I have several other options as well if you are interested. And he says, but unfortunately, anything but gems and precious metals run their own, shall we say, risks.
Me being a person who doesn't dabble in these sorts of things, and you realizing I'm a techno wizard, me guessing maybe perhaps you have an idea of what techno wizards kind of do, or at least a basic understanding. I like to make educated risks, and that seems like something I'm not interested in at all because I have no idea anything about it. I'm not much of a gambling man. If you didn't notice, I didn't partake in that little event that just happened because it's not my forte. It's not my specialty. So I appreciate maybe you trying to offer a hint of me earning more credits, but yeah, that's not going to be anything I'm really interested in. As far as gems and maybe some of your rare materials, I might be interested in looking at those if the exchange rate is right. Sounds good to me. Other than that, I have no interest in your heroin.
All right, he looks at you very seriously for a minute as you're saying this. And then he grinds the cigar between his teeth pretty roughly to where you can tell it's starting to come apart a little bit. And he goes, if you're going to be a fucking pussy about it, then get the hell out of here. And he reaches up and grabs what looks to be some kind of leather kind of loop handle, and he slams basically a security gate down that closes the whole thing off with a solid curtain of metal. You hear a loud latch go across as he seems to fasten it, and then from behind the security gate, you can hear just, even behind this obstruction, you can hear him swearing and cussing and just like basically having some kind of strange immature tantrum. This makes you kind of step back for a moment, very surprised, because his demeanor just a moment ago was one of a person that's definitely in control, calm, and looking at business.
Yeah, this is a very bipolar reaction.
Yes, it does not make sense. And yet there you stand on the other side of the wall. What would you care to do?
I might be kicking the hornet's nest here, but I will head back to the table beforehand, fairly quietly, maybe somewhat in hopes that I'll just go temper, and then I'll walk back to the table with my group of friends.
Okay.
Not super loud. There's a chance maybe they could hear it, but just
Okay.
me kind of get my rocks off at the explosion of
As you say
emotions
this,
there.
you do hear a couple of snickers from some of the patrons standing close that witnessed this outburst on his part. They didn't really hear what you guys were talking about, but when he flipped out, they noticed. One of them is an individual with lots of what looks to be radiation burns and degradation of his DNA, but he kind of shakes his head towards you for a second to get your attention, as one of the individuals that had laughed, and he says he says, pay no attention to that son of a bitch. He says he's just pissed because he's about to get run out of town. He's pissed off everybody from the mayor to the bartenders to the owner of the local transportation depot. He says, and as he holds up two fingers, a thumb and his index finger, a mere inch apart from each other, and he says he's this close to getting shot in the back on the way out too, for all of the shit that he's tried to pull on the local residents. He says, if I were you, I wouldn't get involved in that guy's business. And a couple others do a here and kind of raise a glass as he says this to you.
I'll say thank you for the advice, but I think I already eliminated any future prospects with that one.
They kind of chuckle a bit and nod. Do you want to? You said you wanted to head back over to your companions.
Yeah, I'll head back over to them and attempt to discuss the credits that I'm holding, and now realizing more and more people noticing me, feeling very uncomfortable about the large amount of credits I have on myself, and maybe do want to discuss splitting this up.
That's a good idea.
Well, from Ymir's perspective, because I could see Ren from the corner, correct? Seeing his
Absolutely.
energy kind of in that more huddled, more defensive, like come over here and talk posture while he's sitting. Ymir gives one final farewell to his arm wrestling opponent, raises his glass one more time, finishes it off, sets as he walks by, sets the cup back on the bar so the bartender doesn't have to come pick it back up, and makes his way over to Ren.
Okay. All right. You head on over. Ren, you were heading back to the group, right?
Yep.
Okay. So essentially, Ymir, you just meet back up with.
Right.
With
Exactly.
Okay.
I heard the exchange going on, but Ymir doesn't even acknowledge it. To him, it's just another loudmouth, another rabble in the bar, and he kind of hears the snickers as he walks past, but he doesn't really pay any attention because he's more focused on Ren's energy.
Okay. All right. And Akama, you're doing what?
2 questions.
Yo.
1, universal credits. Is this just a credit card and you load the money in, or is it like universal credits can be paper?
Universal credits are a card that whoever has the card can spend the money. There's also a kind of credit that it's tied to basically like an individual, like you have your own account, like a modern debit card. So there's different types of currency. The universal one is the one that basically whoever has it, you can just spend it. It's essentially like modern cash.
A prepaid card, so to say.
Exactly. Whereas like the, one tied to an account that you open somewhere, that's going to be,
How do I know if I have a personal one or a universal one? Because
it's in
everybody
your
gets universal?
it's in your equipment I think under equipment in your character sheet
Hmm?
is the valuables section.
Yeah, it says universal, so so I don't have a personal account. Everything's universal.
Yeah, unless you have some of that type of currency, then it's the regular
Okay.
universal ones.
I'm just making sure. So
Absolutely.
cool.
And I don't know if you guys had noticed this, but if you click on that link, it will literally explain everything about how all the different currencies work in this if you ever get confused. So, you guys see that?
What link? Where?
Under finances, it's directly under where it says finances. It says the trouble with
With the
credits.
credits?
If you
Okay.
click on that, yeah, it'll.
Where am I seeing this? I'm sorry.
On your
There.
character sheet?
Yeah, I didn't see the trouble with the credits over there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, it's a nice little thing if you ever get confused or whatever. And let's see. Okay, so was there anything else you were wondering, Anything you
Nope.
wanted to do?
That was it.
Okay.
So I basically grab my card after I got my credits. Walk back toward the table. I walk behind Harmony and Pilgrim, and I go ahead and ask, by any chance, would you guys care to join us later tonight? We're just gonna talk about the future and maybe get some more information about you guys.
They kind of look at each other for just a second, almost looking a little surprised. Um, and Pilgrim this time actually looks over at you, and with her kind of strange and alien features, she just kind of nods and blinks once slowly. And
Sweet.
as she does this, Harmony looks over at her a little bit surprised, and she kind of gets a really small smile across what's otherwise a pretty stoic uh, uh, facade right now. And you notice that Pilgrim's willingness to do this actually, I don't know, this has put her in a bit brighter of a mood to see her companion willing to share some time with you guys.
And the whiskey's hidden.
Yeah.
I-
I mean, she ain't hitting a light, so that shit was
I kind of do like a clap prayer, so to say, and
okay.
I say, fantastic. And then I look over toward the bar and I say, barkeep, please, another round.
Okay,
Another round of whiskey.
for everybody or for your table?
Everybody.
Oh
The whole
shit!
table. Well, the table. Like, everybody on the table. Not to say everybody in the fucking thing. Get the fuck out of here.
Oh, that's good shit.
Oh,
Well, I mean, I
shit.
had to ask because she ordered
No,
one
no,
for
you're right.
everybody. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? So
yeah,
all right.
yeah.
You don't want to go that
Everybody
far.
on our table that
You're all clearing it up,
making sure, No, 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 no. Everybody on my table.
right?
Everybody around me looks so weird. Like, what a jerk.
So you order that, and BB very quickly brings it over. Go ahead and take 50 credits off.
And then, is BB? Oh, hold on. Go ahead. 50. So that is.
What did the mayor originally offer us? 250,000 or just 225,000?
I believe it was 25,000.
Yeah, it was
I think
25K.
yeah. I'll be like, comma, you won't believe it. He offered us only 25,000, but we got 50,000. So
I mean, it wouldn't matter to me because I wouldn't even know.
Yeah, that's what he's counting on.
It is what it is, dog. I mean,
All right, so you say this, and Ymir, you hear him say this. What do you want to do?
oh, I say it with a big grin, totally like not
Oh,
prying.
okay.
Yeah, I'm not seriously trying to deceive. I'm doing it as a yeah, as a
Giant with a hammer, probably
a-
not smart.
as a
to
lighthearted
go
prank,
this
yeah, for
route.
sure.
Yeah.
All right, so you say it with a big smile, so Akama, you could tell he's just trying to fuck with you.
and then I go and point my two fingers at him like, ah.
Yeah, we got 70,000, not 50. Anyway, so
Yeah.
and then I will
Well-
I'll lay out the cards, but keep them still close, not to get attention from everyone in the bar seeing all these credits.
I was gonna say we should do this later tonight, but
It's everyone's already seen that we've been paid. I've had several
you
people.
just want it off you. I feel you. Okay.
I've had several people already say something to me about it. So,
Alright.
and I'll quietly say to them, we got 10 cards, 100,000 credits each card, totaling $1 million. I would think that we should maybe split this up 4 ways, 3 of us equally going to us, and then if you wanted to have a group bank, if you would. $250K each personal, 250K banked.
Ymir
And you say
nods.
this- Okay, I want to make sure Ymir is
Yep.
okay.
Who would hold the other 250?
Oh, the group?
Yeah.
Not me.
Nice.
Someone who is trustworthy and also would keep it safe from others. And I vote not me.
So you
I,
guys
not
I
are
for
look at
not for the trustworthy reasons.
you guys
but,
are discussing this in front of you guys are
Yeah.
discussing this in front of
Harmony and yeah, they're
and
there. Yeah.
she speaks up just kind of softly and matter of factly, and she says, "The money changer can open a credit account that all three of you can access, or that you would have to have 2 or 3 of you signing off on to access if you need."
I'm not sure if we need to get to that level of security between us. But also, I don't think he's going to do anything for us after my conversation I just had with him.
I had a
Oh.
conversation with
I
him.
didn't do anything wrong. I just denied.
Ymir cocks an eyebrow, intrigued.
I just denied being a, laundering our credits, our universal credits, which work anywhere, and transfer those into a drug he has where he thought we could maybe make more credits by smuggling them or taking them somewhere for him. So I'm sorry if I spoke out of turn by rejecting this offer from him, but at least for my personal well-being and also finances, I didn't want to take him up on this offer, and he seemed to have quite the hissy fit and slammed his doors shut and continued to curse and
You know
As
what?
as you're saying this, Harmony kind of speaks softly and looks just a little perplexed. And she looks at you guys each in turn, and then she looks over at you, Akama, and she leans forward a little bit and she sniffs you. And then her nose kind of wrinkles up a little, and then she looks back at you, Ren, and she goes, "I do not understand." She says, Do the members of your group not use drugs? Do you not feel that they are morally acceptable?
I'm sorry, was this to me or was this to a particular person or just
To
in
you.
general?
To you.
Oh, I have no issue necessarily. I just don't want to be one that could lose coin by paying a certain amount and then receiving a lesser amount for something that I am not familiar with. I'd rather use my credits that I've earned for, securing the materials and other necessary things I need.
Okay. She nods and she says,
I'm not a
it is,
gambler.
so 'tis not a moral decision, but a financial one."
I feel people can do whatever they want with their bodies if they, as long as they're not hurting themselves or anyone else.
She nods.
To a great extent.
You can tell she's just trying to get a little clarification
Yeah,
on where you guys are coming from.
and I'll just be like, yeah, it's never really been my thing. My bit of experimentation in that regard seems to typically interfere with my other experimentation, and then I'll kind of just like reference and like look at like techno wizardry basically as a.
Okay.
So
She nods and she says, "I understand."
Although I've come up with some crazy ideas because of the first thing, don't seem to be able to produce those ideas also due to the first thing.
Okay. All right. And
I
she
bust
nods.
out in a laugh. Just like just because I'm a bit in the air.
I get you.
I'm just
You're
in
lifted.
general. I'm just
Getting lifted because it's hard being Atlantean and gifted.
That's great.
you know
All
it.
right.
No.
All right. So you let out your laugh. Ymir, what are you doing, man?
Ymir just listening to the conversation, just kind of waiting on people to decide because he's all for what Ren proposed, but he hasn't heard what the next step is, so he doesn't know. Like, he's just watching the situation.
Okay.
At this moment, does Jameer know his English?
Yes,
You've been
broken.
he's been working on it enough to where he's starting to pick up about 50% of what's said.
Right,
And
Okay.
if it's basic concepts, he understands the gist of it. So
right. Just like I was able to bring the guy his drink and say, keep it for waiting, basic stuff like that. Thank
I-
you.
I'd look at Ymir and I'd ask him, "Do you know rock, hammer, paper, scissors?"
and you do. You do.
And
You
then
mere odds.
and then I
Kinda-
say,
I know
Uh,
rock, paper, scissors. I don't know what this hammer is.
"Don't worry about it." And then I look at Ymir and then I say, "This is for who holds the rest of the credits." And then I put out the hand gesture, like slapping on the hand, so to say,
Wait,
get
are you
ready.
guys going on 3 or are you going on 3 then go?
Yeah, it matters.
Is it rock, paper, scissors,
then
shoot or rock, paper, shoot?
No, it's rock,
It's-
paper, scissors, shoot.
It's hammer, paper, scissors.
Yeah, hammer, paper, scissors, exactly.
So you're
then
doing
I-
this for who's gonna keep the funds?
Hold the rest of the funds.
Okay.
Team
The extra funds.
Okay.
So then
So do we are agreed then to do the team split?
that works, cause I mean, I don't have any disagreement with it. So
Cool. Yeah, just making sure.
Conceptually, even though I haven't been able to speak this, you guys understand that Ymir doesn't really. Credits don't hold the same value. He knows they're important in society, right? But he's not one to like covet them or fuck over his friends or anything. I even wrote it into their society where they don't respect universal credits as much as other forms of currency. So
Yeah, but you do have the understanding that that's how to get by day to day and like how to get
Right.
food,
Right,
shelter,
exactly.
all those things.
Yeah, right, exactly. But he's not going to be like, oh, there's a
Yeah,
million
you don't
credits. Exactly.
so my hand's
not an
out in
obsession for you.
gesture to get ready, and then I look at Ren and I say, "You call it."
Yep.
Well,
Um,
so is Ymir actually wanting to even hold them?
I mean, I don't care about. He doesn't care about holding the credits. If
Okay, so
it
it's not
turns
like
out
you're not gonna you don't
willing
like
to
hold
do it,
up
but
a
it's
hand
not
and
a-
turn it down.
No,
You're
I'm
like,
just
okay,
indifferent to him. I'm just indifferent. That's
okay.
what
I
I'm
just want to
saying.
make
He
sure.
doesn't.
Okay.
Yeah, he doesn't covet them like a normal, like a raider would, where it's like, oh, money, money, money. Yeah, no, his society
I
doesn't
will ask
respect.
before they throw. I'll be like, wait,
He's not in greed for money.
what is the
Right.
shape of your hammer then if you don't play rock, paper, scissors? Because if I'm calling it, I need to know the shape of the hammer. Otherwise,
Ymir points to the world maker behind his shoulder.
yeah, I got that. You're doing good, Ymir.
He heard hammer, so
I just bust out laughing and I look at Ren and then in a slight whisper I said, "It's the same as rock."
do I change the name? Just okay, fine. I'll call it. Go.
All right. Roll a 20 sided, guys.
Yeah. And I best out of 3. Come on.
All right. Do you want to actually say that or?
Yeah.
All right. What do you say, Bear?
Ymir nods
Okay. All right. Roll
because
again.
it's a fair wager, just like the arm wrestling. Best 2 out of 3 is fair nods.
All right.
And as they're playing, I'll just be like, Akama, I still don't understand why you told me to call it out. I mean, it's if you win, you win. It's not.
You're the ref.
And I'll point to Ymir again. Ymir.
And I put
There,
my
I
head down.
called
like
it.
I'm like, damn it.
Hey, Akama, you can do more than just scissors. And also, Ymir, you can do more than just hammer, but I mean, I guess it worked for you this time.
Right.
And
All
I
right,
give
so
out a hearty laugh, and say, "Good fight, brother."
Ymir smiles down at Akama with a big shit-eating grin and nods like in complete total agreement because it was a fair wager. He gave him 2 out of 3, and the fates just decided. So
The roll of the die.
excellent. All right, so do you want to hand over the
Oh,
cash?
Ymir also collects his helmet from the table and places it back on his head.
Okay.
Just to make that clear.
Yeah, I will
Sounds
hand
good.
over. I will hand over, and they'll disperse the credits to everyone. Is it? Are we able to break it down to 50 each, or is it only like in segments of 100?
Yeah, we'll just say that you guys are able to do that.
Okay, because if
So-
need be,
Shouldn't be a problem.
okay.
So how much am I adding, just so we're clear?
So we have
250,000.
250,000 credits for you, and then we'll have everyone gets 250,000, and there'll be a 250,000 bank.
But
So
Akama
you'll
is
be
holding-
receiving 500 total, but you might want to keep that separate because 250 will be for the party, not personal.
Yeah, I'm just asking, so I'm just putting it up to 250, but Akama is holding on to all this money in storyline, correct? Even though it's in my inventory?
Well, no, I thought
Wait,
you
what?
lost. He lost. You
Oh,
won.
I thought
I lost twice.
yeah.
Yeah, you
No,
won.
yeah, Akama's the one holding the money.
No, because you won. Wait, what?
I
That's
won
the
twice
whole
in a
reason
row.
for hammer,
wa-
paper, scissors. No.
Yeah, I won twice in a row, high roll, both times.
Yeah,
And we
man.
rolled a 20-sided die against each other.
No, I understand that, but it
Yeah,
was
you
to see
won.
the winner is the one that was holding the money, not the loser.
But
That's why I was
Bro,
asking you if you
mind
wanted
blowing.
to actually hold it, because if
His-
you didn't want
his
to hold
challenge-
it,
I thought you misspoke. See, I didn't catch that. I thought whoever lost was the one holding the money.
No. His challenge was like, hey, do you want to see who holds the money? Winner holds the money. Not like, I think he was doing not as like a burden, like you're taking it as. He was doing it more of like, whoever wins will be the one who holds the money.
exactly.
Okay.
That's why I
Okay.
was asking you if you even wanted to, because if you weren't interested, then there was no reason to even roll. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I'm the big armored bank. That's fine with me. I'm
Okay.
happy with that.
That's
Good
yeah.
deal. Good deal. Okay,
mean,
My
so you
bad.
got the five.
I was just extremely confused because I thought whoever lost that would be holding the money.
Am I
so
adding
that's
this
where
universal
I
credits to bearer or to marked?
Bearer.
You-
Bearer.
was bearer, literally.
That's your personal.
No, bearer, not bear.
Yeah, bear. I look at Ymir and I see like kind of like a grim face, like, wait, what? Like, and I look at him like, I could hold it if you want. There's no problem to me.
Be right back. I got a phone call.
Actually, why don't we take a real quick break? This would be a great time to do it.
All right, I'm chopping it up.
Okay, we've been at it for 141. Not bad. All right, guys, taking a quick
right,
five.
pause
I'll
it.
be right back.
Yeah, man. Bear, if you don't want to hold it, man, just let me know.
I mean, I'm okay with it, bro. Like
I'm okay
either
with
way.
it too. I just want to
Yeah.
make sure you're okay with it.
Oh no, yeah, I was just confused, bro. Like
Don't worry.
you have to understand.
That's the story of my life. I
I
confuse
just
everybody.
I was like, what? Because what I heard was very different from what went down there. Because I was like, wait a second, I won, but now I'm holding the money. No, I thought. I mean, that's cool, Akama. You can hold it, man. We'll just do something where Ymir, begrudgingly, is like, I didn't quite understand what's going on there,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
you
yeah,
can
yeah.
hold the money. Yeah,
I'm with it.
exactly.
That's fine.
Maybe Ymir was a little drunk. I have been drinking since we were in the bar. You have to remember, I just went toe to toe with a giant fucking bionic arm guy. It damn near
Bro,
lifted out of
you were basically facing a little kid. That to you, that's what it looked like.
it.
An adult versus a kid. And you just like, you ready? And you're like, yeah. Ah! And you just like, all right, tell me when you're ready. Ah! Like, I guess you are going, and then slam.
I mean, here's the thing, and this is what I found funny about it, right? The other day I was in Odin's stream, like, or no, I was streaming with Jinxie, and he was in Jinxie's chat, and I was talking to him. I was like, you know what, Odin? Just one of these days, I just want to run into a pack of non-mega damage like raiders, just to fuck with the party, just to see the comedy of like the raiders pulling out guns and trying to shoot me and having the bullets bounce off and having Ymir just like walk the fuck up to him, put the goddamn hand over his face and yeet him fucking 3 miles down the road or some shit, right?
Fucking
And he
Pokemon star him and shit.
yeah, right. And he's like bully, and I was like, "Fuck you, motherfucker! You bullied my bear, kiss my ass." So I take this as him letting me get my little bully moment in. Sure, they weren't an SDC creature. They were somewhat of a challenge because he was at least mega damage muscle with a fucking robotic arm and shit. But
Yeah.
yeah, but
Nice.
that's what it reminded me of. I was like, "Ah, shit! Well, this is my bully moment right here. We're not gonna run into any punk ass raiders in this entire playthrough now, but it's okay. I'll take it. I doubled your money, so I'm happy about that."
Yeah, I saw you and I was just like, oh, money time.
My man, when I saw, and I was like, now what if I roll really shit? I wasn't gonna say anything because you never tempt the fates as a Viking because the fucking fates are funny like that. They enjoy their practical jokes as far as fucking with mortals and their fates. So you never say some shit like that out loud. But I was thinking in the back of my mind, fucking don't roll low. Now I really couldn't, if I'm being honest, with a +10. Like even a fucking 3 would have been a 13, or 11 would have been
A
a fucking,
one.
or 1 would have been an
I
11.
think a one, even though it's still 11, a one's a
Yeah,
one.
no, that would have been rough. That would have been rough because he would have instant or easily rolled higher, if not,
See, and I was thinking like it was gonna be a back and forth. Like you got the first one and he got the
right.
second one, is
I'm
making
back.
it spicy as fuck. Welcome back.
Was it?
He just he just powered through the whole
Yeah,
thing. It was
pretty
like, all
much.
right,
Hey,
well, fuck it.
I hate to do this, but I gotta go. The reason why I thought I might have to leave earlier, actually, my mom just called, and I do have to help out my little brother, so I gotta go out to Eureka, which is like 45 minutes away.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
unfortunately, I gotta stop. I'm
No
really sorry,
worries,
guys.
brother.
Hey,
You
no
gotta do
problem at
what you
all,
gotta
man.
do. Yeah.
Yeah, no worries at all.
Nice little quick session.
Yeah,
Right.
man. Fuck, you guys leveled up. I'm happy as fuck. That's all I.
Yeah,
you know.
no, we got a lot of XP, and I was happy that because of the level up beforehand, I was even able to drop just in the storyline wise that Ymir's starting to pick up a little English for few words here and there, all that. I love the role playing aspect, Odin. You know me, like the mechanics of the game are cool and all that, but I'm a writer at heart, and I just love the role play aspect of that shit.
Well,
And
I know you got to get scooting, Kilo. I really appreciate your time, bro. You guys did a great job today.
much love.
Yeah, everybody's just killing it, and yeah, just appreciate you guys bringing your A game because this is turning into a really
Yes,
amazing
sir.
story. So,
No, I'm really enjoying it. Yeah, I mean,
right on. Everybody's good for next week.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well,
I'll let
I
you know
believe
if
so.
something changes, but
Yeah,
yeah,
I'll
no,
keep you posted for sure.
yeah,
All right, sounds good. And if, like, as always, if anybody needs some time in between, just let me know and we'll get it done. You guys take it easy, and we'll see you for the next
salute.
session.
Take it easy, gents. Much
Okay.
love.
hey,
Sorry
Odin.
again. I'll talk to you guys later.
And now, bow your head for the patrons. BKZJT, Rapid 3642. And Sasa. Nova Rose, Kariti, Tommy Gun. These 24 codes. Jess H. It's. If you would like a special thank you at the end of each of my videos, and some other cool stuff as well, visit patreon.com/homegrownlore. Thank you.